Peace and love, y'all. What's going on? This is day 22 of the Confidence Creation Challenge. Content Creation Challenge, man. Um, what we're going to talk about today is just understanding what it takes to really grow. Like, what it really means to work on yourself. What does it really mean? When a person say, I'm working on myself, I'm working on my mental health, I'm working on this, it sounds good, but what does it really mean? And I'm here to shed some light on that because I've been a proponent of that and I've done that. So one of the things I want to talk about is what does it mean to work on yourself? Is to get to a place of understanding where can you grow? What part of your areas of development that is necessary for you to grow? Because we all don't have it all figured out. I wish I can say I had it figured out. I wish we do. We could, but that's part of the journey of life. Is getting to a better place and a betterment, right? And then there's times in life where you'll hit a wall, meaning that you're not growing or you're not seeing the fruits of your growth. Meaning that you might be reading this book and you might be doing this work, but you're still at the same job, you're still making the same money, you're still doing the same things that you was doing a couple of years now. Could be 5 years, could be 10 years. And you start to ask yourself, what is it that it needs to be different? What do you need to do to grow? And then what can also happen is you could regress in life. You could find yourself going backwards, you know, and it's due to things just ain't going right, going well for you. When you go through those situations, when you grow through those situations, that's the thing that shifted me is that I didn't go through things, I grew through things, right? So that's the purpose of number one, work on yourself, is to grow through these transitions. It's not to just go through it. Because if you're not growing from hardships, then what's the purpose of having hardships? Hardship is meant to help you to grow and be better. Um, so when we think about growth, it's important to do that. So that's the one aspect is to grow. And what does it mean to grow? Is to seek a perspective that's better than the perspective you have if your perspective isn't good enough. So like let's just say, no, ain't no let's just say, let me tell you a point in my life. It was a point in my life where I would say in 2017 going into 2018 where I was doing a lot of work on myself. I was getting into the field of professional development. I wanted to work on myself. I wanted to write a book. At the time, I didn't had a book out. Didn't know how I was going to write a book, and there was a lot that happened in that moment. When all that happened, mm, when all those things was going on in my life, what ended up happening is I end up like going through depression because what I perceived my life was not, I wasn't doing well. I recently left a job of 5 years that I didn't grow in those 5 years, and then I went and do another job I went and do another job doing door to door sales and realized that's not what I wanted to do, and I'm quitting in 2 weeks. So I was literally in the middle of like in this worst transition in my life because I gave up security because though I didn't like that job, my bills was getting paid. To walk away from that to now be like, damn, I really walked away from security for what I thought was going to work and it didn't work. So I started, looking at myself all type crazy. Then I started to realize, like, yo, why am I continuing to work for the time? At the time, uh, I was making like 11.30 an hour, like 11.30 at an hour. That's disgusting. Living in New Jersey at that time, like that's minimum wage now probably, but at that time it's like disgustingly low, and it was all for what? I was making that, and my life wasn't changing, circumstances wasn't changing, things around me was not changing. So what was I doing all of that for? What was the purpose of all of that? Why was I going through all this hardship? That so to work on myself is to realize that I'm not a victim. At the time, I was seeing myself as a poor victim me. So when you work on yourself, it's to shift that perspective. Instead of me looking like a victim, I had to realize I'm experiencing this for a purpose. And the purpose may not be revealed to me in that moment, but I have to give hope that if I continue to do the work and get myself to a better place, then now I can reflect on the situation with wisdom and see that this moment is what shifted me into the direction that I was going. So now I've shifted my vibrations ever since then. Because you're talking about 8 years ago, 7, 8 years ago. And since then done some tremendous growth. I did write a book. I haven't worked and made a job where I was making 12, 13 hour a long time. Like I'm now making more than that. Um Even when, and like I relocated, I changed states. Um just my whole mentality shift. I started a business. I'm doing this content now. When I first started my YouTube channel was then at that time. You see why I didn't upload content like that? Because I was going through it in my personal life. I didn't feel worthy enough to hop on the camera and do it. Now I'm doing a 30-day challenge. My vibration, my life has shifted since then. So the work starts with, and I'm not saying that's the all to the work, but it starts with changing your perspective. Because if your perspective isn't working for you in that moment, you need to shift it. I'm going to say it again for the people in the back. If your perspective ain't working for you, then you need to shift it. Because what sense coming to a rival place about opinion about what's going on in your life and to be right about something that's not working out for you? How does that benefit you? It makes no sense to hold on to an idea that does not work for you. You need to shift to an idea that works for you. So at that time, instead of me looking at myself as, yo, what's wrong with me? I'm the issue, see myself as a problem. What I recognize is that I needed to go through that experience so I can help those who's going through similar experience within their life. My positivity, my being able to see my way out of that situation helped me to go forward and do what I'm doing now. I wouldn't be able to write my book. I wouldn't be able to come on this camera and talk to you had I not go through that moment in my life. And my point is that real work starts with changing your perspective. So you gotta change your perspective. You gotta be willing to see more. That time, what I started to do was meditate more. I started to get into meditation, and I'm talking about deeper form of meditation. Just going in and just settling and getting that knowledge and going deeper. So at the end of the day, what does it really mean to work on yourself? It starts with changing the perspective. And from there, I'll be doing other videos covering other mindset shifts. But at the end of the day, I want people to realize is that if it ain't working for you, then you need to shift that mindset. Because why hold on to an idea that doesn't work for you? It's like holding on to a bomb that's going to blow you up. Why would you hold on to that? Don't hold on to an idea that doesn't work for you. That's why you got to learn to shift, do the work, and see what's better. Because the worst thing to do is be right about something that does not work in your benefit. Peace and love. More videos is coming.